I'm really glad you're here with me today. Every time you press play on this podcast, you're not just practicing English. You're also practicing how to think, how to reflect, and how to grow. And today's episode is about something deeply connected to both language learning and life itself. Your attention. You might not realize it yet, but your attention is actually your life. What you give your attention to, what you focus on, is what grows stronger in your life. And the truth is, if you're not careful, you might be giving it away to things that don't deserve it. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever caught yourself scrolling on your phone for half an hour and then asked, where did that time go? Or maybe you've worried so much about what other people think of you that you forgot to focus on what you actually wanted? That's attention being stolen. And here's the key. Attention isn't free. It's your most valuable resource. Every minute you spend, you're spending part of your life. That's why I say your attention is your life. Well, because when we talk about learning, improving, or even chasing dreams, people often believe that talent is the most important thing. You know, oh, she's naturally talented at languages, or he was born with a gift. But I want to challenge that idea today, because what really changes your life is not talent. It's mindset. Mindset is how you think, how you deal with setbacks, how you stay consistent even when things are boring or difficult. Talent might give you a quick start, but mindset is what keeps you moving. Let me put it this way. Talent is like a good pair of running shoes, but mindset is the decision to actually run every day. And if you never run, even the best shoes in the world won't take you anywhere. We all know people who had great potential but gave up too soon. And we also know people who weren't the most talented, but they worked with focus, discipline, and consistency, and they achieved more than anyone expected. That's the power of mindset, and that's why your attention matters so much. Because mindset is built on what you choose to focus on. So today, as you listen, I want you to ask yourself some questions. Where is your attention going? Are you giving it away to distractions, doubts, or perfectionism? Or are you using it to build the life you actually want? And remember, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have special talent. You need the right mindset and the willingness to protect your attention like it's gold. Because in the end, it really is. Stay with me, because in this episode, we're going to explore why attention shapes your reality, how distractions steal it from you, and why choosing mindset over talent can completely transform your future. What we mean by attention. So let's stop for a moment and ask a very simple question. What do we actually mean when we say attention? It sounds like such a basic word, but if you think about it carefully, attention is not just looking at something or listening to something. Attention is your mental spotlight. It's the part of your mind that says, this is important right now. I'm going to give my energy to this. Wherever that spotlight goes, your energy flows. And the more time you spend focusing on something, the more it grows in your life. Imagine your attention like money in your wallet. Every day, you wake up with a certain amount of energy, time, and focus. That's your budget. And just like money, once you spend it, it's gone. You can't get it back. If you spend it on things that don't matter, you end up broke at the end of the day. with nothing meaningful to show for it. But if you invest your attention wisely, on learning, on relationships, on goals that matter to you, then you're building something valuable for the future. Now let's think about how most of us actually use our attention in daily life. Maybe you wake up, and the first thing you do is check your phone. Suddenly, you're scrolling through social media. 10 minutes pass, then 20, then maybe an hour, and you don't even remember half of what you saw. That's attention being spent. Or maybe I should say, wasted. Because it didn't give you anything back. Or maybe you spend a lot of time worrying about what other people think of you. You replay conversations in your head, thinking, "Why did I say that? Did I sound stupid?" That's attention again, but this time, it's being used on self-doubt. And the more you feed those thoughts with your attention, the stronger they become. There's also perfectionism, which is another way we give away our attention without realizing it. Instead of finishing something, we spend hours trying to make it flawless, rechecking every little detail. Of course, it's good to do things well, but when perfection becomes the focus, it eats up all your energy. And sometimes, you end up not finishing at all. That's another way scattered attention can stop you from moving forward. So the real question is, what's the difference between focused attention and scattered attention? Focused attention is like a laser beam. It's powerful, sharp, and it goes straight to one point. When you give focused attention to a task, you make progress, you create results, and you feel a sense of satisfaction at the end. It's like sitting down to read a book without checking your phone every 5 minutes. You actually finish a chapter, and you feel good about it. Scattered attention, on the other hand, is like a light bulb with no direction. The light spreads everywhere, but it doesn't go deep. You start one thing, then check something else, then think about another problem, then reply to a message, and suddenly your day is full of activity, but empty of real achievement. Have you ever had a day like that? You feel busy, but at the same time unproductive. That's the effect of scattered attention. It leaves you tired, but without results. What makes attention so powerful is that it's connected directly to your life experience. If your attention is always on problems, you will feel your life is full of problems. If your attention is on opportunities, even small ones, you'll start to notice more possibilities around you. It doesn't mean ignoring difficulties. It means choosing carefully where to put your mental energy so that you can actually grow. And here's something really important. Your attention and your mindset are connected. When you choose to focus on growth, learning, and consistent effort, your mindset gets stronger. When you let your attention scatter to doubts, to fears, to distractions, your mindset weakens. This is why talent alone doesn't guarantee success. Because without attention and mindset, talent is like an unused tool sitting on the shelf. It's there, but it's not changing your life. So I want you to think about this today. Where has your attention been going recently? Has it been focused, like a laser, on the things that truly matter to you? Or has it been scattered, pulled in different directions by social media, worries, or perfectionism? This isn't about judging yourself. It's about noticing. Because once you notice, you can choose. And that choice, where you put your attention, is really a choice about the kind of life you want to live. Attention and life energy. Let's go a little deeper and think about how attention is directly connected to your energy. Because in the end, energy is what drives your whole life. You wake up in the morning with a certain amount of physical and mental energy. Some days you feel strong, motivated, ready to take on the world. Other days you feel tired before you even start. But here's something many people forget. Where you place your attention has a huge influence on how much energy you actually feel. Think of your attention like water. Wherever the water flows, things begin to grow. If you water flowers, the flowers bloom. If you water weeds, the weeds spread everywhere. Your attention works in exactly the same way. If you focus your attention on opportunities, learning, or personal growth, those parts of your life get stronger and healthier. If you spend your attention on worries, negativity, or endless distractions, then those are the things that grow. Let's imagine two people who both have the same amount of talent. The first person gives their attention every day to fear. Fear of failure, fear of other people's opinions, fear of not being perfect. That fear eats up their energy until they feel heavy, tired, and stuck. The second person gives their attention to small, consistent actions, practicing, learning, trying again even when it's difficult. Their energy flows into progress, and little by little they grow. What makes the difference? Not talent, but where they put their attention. You can probably feel this in your own life. Think about a time when you spent the whole day worrying about something small, maybe a mistake at work, or a comment someone made about you. At the end of the day, you were exhausted. It felt like you had worked hard, but in reality, the only thing you did was give your attention to the same thought again and again. On the other hand, think about a time when you focused on something creative or meaningful, maybe learning a new skill, helping a friend, or finishing a project. Even if it was tiring, it was a good kind of tired. You felt satisfied because your attention created something valuable. That's the connection between attention and life energy. Attention doesn't just shape what you do, it shapes how you feel. When your attention goes to negative or useless things, you feel drained. When your attention goes to positive and productive things, you feel energized. It's almost like your attention decides the quality of your energy. Here's another way to picture it. Imagine you have a phone battery that starts at 100% every morning. If you open too many apps at once, the battery starts to run down quickly. Notifications, social media, constant switching between tasks, they're like apps running in the background, eating up your battery. But if you keep your attention focused on one or two important things, your energy lasts longer, and you can actually get something done. This is why protecting your attention is so important. Because it's not only about saving time, it's also about saving yourself. If you waste your attention on things that don't matter, you're not just losing minutes, you're losing life energy. And unlike your phone, you can't just plug yourself into the wall and instantly recharge. You need rest, recovery, and, most importantly, the discipline to direct your attention wisely. So I want to ask you right now, where are you pouring your attention these days? Is it going into activities that help you grow, like learning, building relationships, creating something meaningful? Or is it leaking into distractions, gossip, worries, or habits that don't really give you anything back? Be honest with yourself. Nobody else can answer this question for you. because in the end, your life is made of whatever you give your attention to. And this is exactly where mindset comes in. A strong mindset helps you direct your attention like a gardener watering flowers, not weeds. It helps you notice when your energy is being wasted, and it guides you back to the things that truly matter. Mindset is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing which parts of reality you want to strengthen. Because whatever you water with your attention will grow. The Trap of Talent versus Mindset. Now let's talk about something that many people believe, but that often holds them back in life. The idea that talent alone guarantees success. You've probably heard people say, "She's so talented. Of course she's successful." Or, "He was born with a gift." Talent is often treated like magic. If you have it, people assume you're destined to succeed. And if you don't have it, people think you're doomed to fail. But the truth is, that way of thinking is a trap, because talent, on its own, is never enough. Let's start with a simple example. Think about athletes. Every year, there are thousands of young athletes with incredible natural talent. They run fast, they jump high, they learn skills quickly. But how many of them actually make it to the top? Only a small number. Why? Because talent gets you noticed, but it doesn't keep you there. What keeps you there is mindset, the ability to train every day, to stay disciplined, to handle setbacks and keep going even when it's tough. We see it in football, in tennis, in the Olympics. The ones who rise to the very top are not always the most naturally gifted. They are the ones who combine their talent with relentless focus, consistency, and mental strength. The same is true in music. You might know someone who can play the guitar beautifully without much effort. They pick it up quickly, and people are impressed. But if that person never practices, never learns new songs, never pushes themselves, their talent slowly fades. Meanwhile, another person with less natural talent may practice every single day, little by little. They stay consistent. They face the frustration of learning difficult chords, and they keep going. Over time, the second person often becomes the better musician. Why? Because mindset wins over raw talent. And this isn't only about sports or music. It's also true in business, in learning languages, in every area of life. Look at some of the most successful entrepreneurs. Many of them didn't start as the most brilliant people in the room. Some even failed several times before finding success. But what they had was the mindset to learn from their mistakes, to pay attention to what worked and what didn't, and to keep moving forward. Their talent didn't protect them from failure. Their mindset did. The trap of believing in talent alone is dangerous because it can create two problems. First, if you think you're talented, you may become lazy. You believe your natural ability will always be enough, so you stop pushing yourself. You stop paying attention to your growth. Second, if you think you're not talented, you may give up before you even start. You convince yourself that you'll never succeed, so you never try. In both cases, you lose. That's why this belief is a trap. It takes your attention away from what really matters, your mindset and your daily actions. Let's make this practical. Imagine two students learning English. The first student has a talent for languages. Words come easily, pronunciation sounds natural, and people say, "Wow, you're gifted." But this student doesn't study regularly. They rely only on their natural ability. The second student doesn't have the same gift. They struggle with grammar. They make mistakes, and it takes them longer to understand. But they practice every day. They keep listening, speaking, and trying. After 1 year, who do you think has improved more? In most cases, it's the second student, because talent gave the first student a head start, but mindset and attention kept the second student moving. This is why your attention is so powerful here. Talent might make you notice an opportunity, but only attention plus mindset will help you build on it. Without attention, talent is like an engine with no fuel. It looks powerful, but it goes nowhere. With attention and mindset, even a small engine can take you far. So the next time you find yourself thinking, "I'm not talented enough," stop and remind yourself. Talent is not the secret. Mindset is. And the next time you find yourself admiring someone who seems naturally gifted, ask a different question. What kind of mindset do they have? How are they focusing their attention? Because that's what you can actually control in your own life. In the end, success doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to those who know how to protect their attention and direct it with the right mindset. That's the real power, and it's available to everyone. Everyday distractions that steal your life. Now that we've talked about the power of attention, let's be honest about something. Our attention is under attack every single day. It's not just about what we choose to focus on. It's also about all the things trying to steal that focus away. And the truth is, many of us don't even realize how much of our life we are losing to these small, constant distractions. Think about your phone for a second. How many times do you check it during the day? A notification pops up, and before you even think, your hand reaches for it. Maybe it's a message. Maybe it's a social media update. Maybe it's just an app reminding you to come back. You tell yourself, "I'll just look for a minute." But that 1 minute turns into 10, then 30, and sometimes even more. Suddenly, an hour has disappeared. And when you look back, you don't even remember half of what you saw. That's attention being stolen. But it's not only technology that takes our focus. Gossip can do the same thing. Maybe at work, or even in your family, people spend time talking about others. Who did what? Who failed? Who succeeded? And while it might feel entertaining for a moment, gossip is like junk food for your mind. It fills your attention with things that don't help you grow. Instead of focusing on your own goals, your energy gets wasted on stories that don't really matter to your life. Another big distraction is comparison. We live in a world where it's easier than ever to compare ourselves to others. Social media makes it look like everyone else is living a perfect life. Traveling, buying new things, achieving big goals. And when you focus your attention on those images, you can start to feel like you're not good enough. You doubt yourself. You think, why am I not as successful as them? Why am I not moving as fast? But here's the truth. You're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. And that comparison steals your energy because it shifts your focus away from your own journey. And then there's perfectionism, one of the most silent but dangerous distractions. Perfectionism tells you that if something is not flawless, it's not worth doing. So instead of finishing that project, you spend hours and hours fixing small details. Instead of practicing your English speaking, you wait until you feel ready. But here's the thing. That day never comes. Perfectionism keeps you stuck because your attention is on avoiding mistakes instead of making progress. If you add all these distractions together, the phone, the gossip, the comparison, the perfectionism, you begin to see how much of our life is slowly taken away piece by piece. And the worst part is, it doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't feel like someone is robbing you. It feels normal. But when you add it up, it's weeks, months, even years of lost focus. Imagine what you could create, what you could learn, or how much you could grow if you directed even half of that attention towards something meaningful. So let me ask you right now, what steals your attention the most? Is it the endless scroll on your phone? Is it worrying about what others think? Is it the trap of perfectionism, always waiting for the perfect moment? Be honest with yourself. Because the first step to protecting your attention is noticing where it's leaking. The good news is that attention is like a muscle. The more you practice directing it, the stronger it becomes. But before you can train it, you have to know where you're losing it. Once you see the distractions clearly, you have a choice. You can let them continue stealing your life, or you can take back control. And that decision is what separates a scattered life from a focused one. Why mindset beats talent? We've talked about distractions, about attention, and about the trap of believing in talent. Now it's time to go right to the heart of today's message. Why mindset beats talent every single time. Because yes, talent can open doors, but mindset is what keeps those doors open. Think about it this way. Talent is like a key. It can unlock opportunities. It can get you noticed. It might even give you a head start. But if you don't show up consistently, if you don't push through challenges, if you don't keep learning and growing, then that door will slowly close again. Mindset is what allows you to walk through the door and stay in the room, even when things get hard. Have you ever met someone who was naturally gifted but gave up too soon? Maybe they had an amazing voice but never practiced. Maybe they were great at school but got lazy because everything came easily at first. At some point, their talent wasn't enough to carry them. On the other hand, have you seen someone who wasn't the most talented but refused to quit? They kept showing up day after day. They failed, they learned, they tried again, and slowly they passed the people who started ahead of them. That's the power of mindset. Let me share a common example. In sports, we often see young players who are called the next big star. They have natural ability, speed, or strength, but only a few of them ever reach the very top. Why? Because natural ability is only the beginning. The ones who succeed are those who keep training when nobody is watching, who wake up early, who stay disciplined even when they don't feel like it. They use their attention to build habits, and their mindset keeps them moving when talent alone would not be enough. The same is true in learning English. You may know someone who picks up languages quickly. Maybe they understand grammar fast, or their pronunciation is almost perfect without much practice. But if that person never studies regularly, if they don't push themselves to speak, even when they feel nervous, their progress will stop. Meanwhile, another learner who struggles at first but shows up every single day, listening, practicing, making mistakes, learning again, will slowly become fluent. Talent might make learning easier at the start, but mindset makes learning possible in the long run. This is why we say mindset beats talent, because talent is passive. You're born with it. Mindset is active. You choose it, you build it, you practice it. Talent is a gift, but mindset is a decision, and that decision has to be made every single day, to keep going when it's boring, to keep trying when it's difficult, to keep showing up when it's scary. Let's use another image. Imagine talent is like having a car with a strong engine. It looks powerful, and it can go very fast, but without fuel, without someone willing to drive it day after day, the car goes nowhere. Mindset is the fuel. Mindset is the driver. It doesn't matter how strong the engine is if you never turn it on. So let me ask you directly. Have you ever seen someone with talent give up because they lost focus? Maybe they had everything going for them, but they couldn't handle failure or boredom, so they quit. And have you seen someone average, someone ordinary, someone who wasn't the most talented, succeed because they never gave up? I'm sure you have. We all know stories like that. And when we look closely, it's never talent that makes the difference. It's mindset. This should give you hope. Because maybe you feel you're not the most talented person in the room. Maybe you believe others are smarter, faster, or more gifted. But talent is not destiny. Talent can only take someone so far. Your mindset, your attention, and your consistency can take you much further. And that's something you can control. So the question isn't, am I talented enough? The real question is, am I willing to keep going when it's boring, when it's hard, when it feels scary? Because if the answer is yes, then you already have what you need. How to protect and direct your attention. We've been talking about the power of attention, the dangers of distraction, and why mindset is more important than talent. But now comes the practical part. How can you actually protect your attention and use it in the right way every day? Because knowing the theory is one thing, but building habits that really change your life is another. Protecting your attention is like protecting your time, your energy, and even your future. If you don't guard it carefully, the world will take it away from you little by little. Through notifications, endless scrolling, gossip, comparison, or even your own self-doubt. But the good news is that you can train yourself to control it, just like you can train your body in a gym. Imagine your mind as a gym. Every time you focus, you are lifting a small mental weight. Every time you resist the temptation to check your phone when you should be working, you are doing a repetition. Every time you choose to stay present instead of getting lost in worry, you are becoming stronger. Just like physical muscles, your focus grows only when you practice regularly. And just like in the gym, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't build strong arms in one day, and you don't build strong attention in 1 week. But if you keep training a little every day, the results will surprise you. So how do we start training in this mental gym? One simple practice is to limit distractions. That sounds obvious, but it is very powerful. For example, you can decide to turn off unnecessary notifications on your phone. You don't need to hear every beep, every message, every alert. Each one steals your attention and breaks your focus. You can also choose small blocks of time to work or study without touching your phone at all. Even 25 minutes of deep focus can be more productive than 2 hours of interrupted work. This is like giving your brain a calm environment where it can perform at its best. Another practice is journaling. Writing your thoughts on paper may feel simple, but it helps you clear your mind. When you write down what is worrying you or what you want to focus on, your brain doesn't have to carry all that weight anymore. You can start small. Each morning, write 3 things you want to focus on that day. Or each evening, write down 1 thing you learned and 1 thing you want to improve tomorrow. This not only protects your attention from chaos, but also directs it toward what really matters. Mindfulness is another powerful tool. It doesn't have to be complicated or spiritual if that's not your style. Mindfulness simply means paying attention to the present moment. It can be as easy as closing your eyes and taking 3 deep breaths before starting your work. It can mean noticing the taste of your food instead of rushing through a meal. It can mean listening carefully when someone is speaking, instead of planning what you will say next. Each small act of mindfulness is like a push-up for your attention muscle. It brings you back to the present and reminds you that this moment is where your life is actually happening. A big trap many people fall into is perfectionism. They spend so much attention trying to make things perfect that they end up doing nothing at all. But progress is always better than perfection. If you focus on making 1 small step each day, you will achieve far more than someone who waits until everything feels perfect. For example, if you want to learn English, don't wait until you feel confident to speak. Start speaking now, even if it's with mistakes. Each word you say builds your skill. If you want to write, don't wait for the perfect idea. Start writing something, and the ideas will come as you practice. Direct your attention toward progress, not toward the impossible goal of perfection. When you combine these practices, limiting distractions, journaling, mindfulness, and focusing on progress, you start to notice something. Your days feel more in your control. You don't wake up and lose your attention to random things. Instead, you choose where your energy goes, and this choice shapes your future. Because what you focus on grows. If you spend your attention on complaining or comparing, you grow more frustration. If you spend your attention on learning, on building, on trying, you grow more skills and opportunities. So think of your attention like money. Every day you are spending it. The question is, are you spending it on things that make you richer or on things that make you poorer? Protecting your attention is like protecting your wallet. You wouldn't let just anyone take your money. Why would you let just anything take your attention? Remember, talent can open doors, but mindset keeps them open. And mindset itself is powered by where you put your attention every single day. That is why protecting and directing your attention is one of the most important skills you can ever learn. So, as we come to the end of today's episode on Code Your English, let's take a deep breath and go back to the heart of everything we have talked about. Your attention shapes your reality. It is not just about what you look at or what you listen to. It is about what you choose to feed with your time, your thoughts, and your energy. If you spend your days focusing on gossip, distractions, or doubts, your life will slowly start to reflect those things. But if you direct your attention toward growth, learning, kindness, or persistence, those are the qualities that will grow inside you. Attention is powerful. because it is the water that makes something in your life grow stronger. Maybe you remember the metaphor we used earlier. Attention is like water. Wherever it flows, things grow. That is not just a nice phrase. It is a truth you can test in your daily life. If you pour water onto weeds, they will grow taller and stronger. If you pour it onto flowers, they will bloom beautifully. The same happens with your thoughts and actions. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. And where your energy goes, your life moves. So, if you are serious about building the life you want, then protecting your attention is not optional. It is essential. We also talked about talent versus mindset. This is such an important point to remember as you leave this episode. Talent is a gift, but mindset is a choice. Talent can open doors, but it is mindset that keeps those doors open. How many times have you seen someone with amazing talent give up because they lost focus, or because they could not handle challenges? And how many times have you seen an ordinary person achieve something extraordinary, simply because they refused to quit, because they kept showing up every single day? That is the power of mindset. And mindset is built by attention. If you give your attention to fear, you build fear. If you give your attention to consistency, you build progress. So, let me ask you, where will you choose to put your attention tomorrow? Will you give it away to endless scrolling on your phone? Or will you invest it in learning something new? Will you waste it worrying about what others think of you? Or will you use it to practice your skills, improve your health, or connect with the people who really matter? This is not just a question about productivity. It is a question about your life, because your attention is your life. Every moment you give away is a piece of your story, and you only have so many pages to write. As we finish, I want you to carry one simple but powerful idea with you. You have a choice. You may not control your talent, your background, or your circumstances, but you do control where you place your attention. And that choice can change your entire life. Don't underestimate the small daily actions. Don't underestimate the value of focus. They may look small in the moment, but they build your future step by step. So, here is my challenge for you. Tomorrow, choose one thing you want to give your attention to. Just one. It could be reading for 20 minutes, practicing English, exercising, or calling someone you care about. Protect that piece of attention like it is gold, because in truth, it is more valuable than gold. Then, when you look back at the end of the day, notice how you feel. Did that small choice change your energy, your focus, your confidence? If yes, then repeat it the next day, and the next. That is how transformation begins. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode